less. 80 rushing yards for Lamar Jackson tonight.
Greeny, the quad injury worries me. Going up against the Jets' #1 run defense worries me. The fact that it could be a blowout and they could rest him worries me. So I'm going to say less than 80 yards just because of all these extraneous factors. Lamar Jackson is such a dangerous player, can run for 80 yards in any game he wants. I don't know that tonight is one of those games.
I completely agree with you. Everything worries you tonight if you're them, except the Jets. Patrick Mahomes, Dominic, more or less than 2.5 total touchdowns this weekend against Denver.
I got to go less. I mean, obviously, Patrick Mahomes has the ability to throw for 5 touchdowns in any given game, but the Broncos' defense is very good, and Patrick Mahomes averages less than 2.5 touchdowns throughout this season. He averages 2 last 3 games. He's only thrown 1 in each of those games. So I love Patrick Mahomes. I love to see a vintage classic performance, but he's likely going to throw for less.
One more. D. Wood, Patriots, Bengals, more or less than 2.5 drops for the New England receivers.
You said they're playing the Bengals?
Correct.
Less. Listen, the Bengals have one of the worst rush defenses in the National Football League. This is, Dominic knows this is one of those quintessential get-right type of games on offense for the Patriots. Yep. Look for them to run the ball, and all these guys around them start picking their game up a little bit.
I don't know. If he throws 3 passes, there's a good chance they'll drop 2.5 of them. Anyway, Tom Brady may be the greatest to ever do it, but obviously this season not so much. He's not even in the top half of the rankings of some of the most important quarterback metrics. He's on pace to post his worst finish in QBR, yards per attempt, and completion percentage. How much of that is on him? That's up to you. Meanwhile, Boston Globe legendary columnist Bob Ryan was asked yesterday on Dan Le Batard show if he thought Brady would be back in New England next season. Listen to what he said.
You know, I'm starting to think no. And I hope it's because he's quitting and not pulling a Unitas or a Montana. It's clear that yes, there are problems with the offense and weaponry and all, but he is in decline to some degree. And whoever gets him is not going to get the Tom Brady of yore. They're going to get a mid-level competent game manager.
Hold on. So Bob Ryan, who again is a legendary figure, my friend Mr. Woody, and you started your career. Go ahead, I see you. What do you think? A mid-level game manager.
You really think I'm going to go there, mid-level game? No, listen. I think when you look, first of all, we're talking about a guy who's 42 years old.
Yes.
I think people need to put that in perspective.
Yeah.
He's 42. This is not the same Tom Brady that we saw when he was 30 or in his mid-30s, okay? So Father Time is obviously playing a role in this. But looking at the Patriots offensively, they are very limited offensively. Their offensive line is not playing as well as they were last year. The skill guys definitely aren't. They can't separate, and when they do have opportunities, they're not making plays on the football. So when you have a 42-year-old quarterback that's declining in skills, and then the pieces around him aren't performing, this is what you get.
I understand. It's hard for us to fix our lips to say anything bad about Tom Brady, but his stats suggest that Bob Ryan was being generous. And I know we can blame everybody around him, but he leads the league in underthrows. That's not the reason. That's not the receiver's fault. It's not the O-line's fault. Their running game is terrible right now, and he needs a game manager.
So you're saying right now that Tom Brady is just merely a game manager. Think about what we're saying. A game manager.
Are you watching these games?
I'm watching games just like you're watching it. I'm watching the games. Game manager?
He would be a great game manager if they would support him. Game managers need support. He's not getting that support. And they're missing Gronk in the passing game, but they're also missing him in the running game. They're running away from the strong side, which is not something they did when they had Gronk there to pave the way.
Well, look, I mean, the numbers can say a lot of different things. He threw 2 touchdowns last week that didn't turn out to be touchdowns. One, they ruled N'Keal Harry out of bounds inexplicably.
Right.
The other, Jacoby Myers drops, which was right in his hands, which seems to be his best play. Schefter, let's go back to the beginning part of that conversation, which is Bob Ryan saying he's starting to believe that we are seeing the end of the Tom Brady era in New England, one way or another, whether it means that he retires or he goes on to play someplace else.
Well, we've said this year, again, there are 3 options. There are 3. 1 is he goes back to New England. 2 is he goes to another team. And 3, he retires. 2 of the 3 options are him not going back to New England. I don't think that he knows what he's going to do. I don't know that they know what he's going to do. But 2 of the 3. The percentages are that he doesn't come back. The percentages are that he moves on one way or another, because there's an equal chance that any of those happen at this point in time. And he is 42, and he's not practicing as much, and his body is wearing down a little bit, which is natural. Greeny, you get out of bed in the morning. How do you feel? Can you imagine what it's like? Exactly. For to be Tom Brady when you've been hit on Sunday and pummeled like that, it's a tough challenge.
For the life of me, I can't understand why he hasn't gone out on top a number of times, but it suggests to me he just wants to play. And who are we to tell him he can't if someone wants him to? And he says he wants to do it till he's 45. That's 3 more seasons.
Yeah, I think he deserves to try to do it. I think the Patriots deserve to do everything they can to give him what he wants because he's been that great. But he hasn't been that great this year, and the people around him, we can blame them. But it's not just them. I understand that those 2 plays last week, you can blame those players, but you're watching Tom Brady. Like I said, the stats suggest that he's not very good, but you watch him play, he leads the league in underthrow.
I understand that, but if those 2 are touchdowns and the stats look different and the outcome of that game is probably different and these things do go together, I understand that stuff
one game,
tends to even out over the course of time.
Right.
I understand that, but all I'm saying is I think the numbers are doing him a disservice. I think sometimes these guys, when they lose a little off their fastball, they pick up a little something else in knowledge. I think he's more than a game manager.
It's hard to apply that term to Tom Brady. To me.
Well, we'll see. Okay, we have much more in this as we go. I'm going to continue arguing with you as these guys talk about basketball. Lauren, go ahead.
You guys argue. We'll get to a big game in the association last night. Cavs hosting the Rockets. And James Harden, you're going to see a ton of him. Jay Will here with me. Westbrook in transition to Harden. He buries the 3.
Look, LR, there's a reason why James Harden is probably the most innovative offensive player that we've ever seen. Just the step back has revolutionized the game, and in fact, he can make shots from anywhere except over half court.
He had 24 points at the half. We go to the 4th quarter, and it's a 24-0 run by the Cavs, so Harden's got to get something going. He makes it look easy.
The best part about a bad team, they find ways to lose games.
Yeah.
The Cavs just being the Cavs.
Unfortunate for Kevin Porter Jr., who had a good game. 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Harden, 3-pointer, and that was his 48th point with the defender in his face there.
Look, it doesn't matter what you do. If you don't throw a double team at him, he is going to score on you 1-on-1. That's why the scouting report says throw a double team at him, make other players on the Rockets team beat you.
He was unbelievable. Rockets trailing by 1 with the shot clock winding down.
What are we doing, Cleveland? What are we doing?
Rockets lead by 1. Cavs possession here. Jordan Clarkson loses it, and it finds Harden's hands. Well, he gets his friend involved. PJ Tucker hit the 3. That ices the game. Rockets win it 116-110. Harden, 55 points, tied a franchise record with 10 3-pointers in the game. So, look, we could talk all about Harden in this one, but you've got something that you want to point out about Westbrook and Harden and this duo in the NBA right now.
It's the biggest story of the night.
Yeah.
There are trust issues in Houston.
Ooh.
It's like a Drake song. Really trust issues. And this is why I think that CP3 was a better pairing with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Their net rating is better, but the tape shows it. So as the play develops, you're going to see loose ball here. James Harden catches the ball. Okay, he catches the ball. Now look, there is 5 seconds on the shot clock. LR, look who my man is staring at. He is staring right here at at Russell Westbrook. 5 seconds on the shot clock, staring right at Russell Westbrook. Now, he takes a dribble. It's not even one swing. He takes a dribble. Now, we're talking about the 2016-17 MVP, correct? We're talking about one of the most prolific offensive players there is in the game. This is Batman. This is supposed to be Superman. This isn't Batman and Robin. This is Batman and Superman. That you don't even think. You swing the ball. AD is not thinking about when he gets double teamed, swing the ball to LeBron. He just swings it. Paul George is not thinking about, do I pass the ball to Kawhi? He just swings it. My man takes a dribble and he's thinking, is it better for me to take this shot against him 1-on-1 from out here in this pocket rather than pass the ball to a guy who's shooting 23% from the 3-point line? He finally does it. He finally passes, but he forces it. He doesn't want to do that. Now, Russell Westbrook was 1 for 3 from the 3-point line at that juncture. He's 1 of 4, right on mark for his shooting 25%. But that's a major issue going down the stretch. James Harden is wondering, can I trust my number 2? My number 2 cannot shoot, which does not fit into our offense.
And
trust issues.
You wonder how Westbrook's feeling about this, too, because he's got to see it.
It all becomes psychological. And then Russell starts retweeting other fans that say, you can't shoot. It starts buying into his brain. It's going to be phenomenal to watch this pan out.
Petty NBA Twitter in its own way. So much more from Jay Will coming. And we have another star-studded Friday night NBA doubleheader on ESPN and the ESPN app. We're talking about duos. LeBron and AD, a great duo in the NBA right now. Lakers are in Miami taking on Jimmy Butler, the Heat. At 7 p.m. Eastern, the Heat are 11-0 at home. And then at 9:30 Eastern, Karl Anthony Towns and the Timberwolves host Kawhi, Paul George, and the Clippers. So make sure you tune in for that. We're going to get back to football next on Get Up. And we're talking the top 5 quarterbacks in football. Dominique Foxworth reveals his list, and one of the quarterbacks on it will shock you, but pay attention, he may be right. And does Odell Beckham Jr. really want out of Cleveland? What should the Browns do? We're talking about it when we return. We'll be right back on Get Up.